The Changing of the Guard, a recap of the 2005-2006 NBA season, the new era, and the dress code. If the early 2000s were defined by the grit and grind of the post-Jordan hangover, 2006 was the year the NBA decided to put on a suit, literally and figuratively. The league was at a crossroads, caught between the bad boy image of the Allen Iverson era and a new corporate vision pushed by Commissioner David Stern. Fans were still reeling from the Malice at the Palace just a year prior, and the league was desperate to shift the conversation back to the hardwood. What followed was a season of individual scoring explosions that hadn't been seen since the 1960s, and a postseason that cemented the legendary status of a young Flash. This wasn't just a season of basketball. It was the birth of the modern, superstar-driven NBA we know today.
Unbelievable! The place is going nuts! That's an MVP dunk. One of the truly great dunks of the year.
Drives baseline, goes up, over the head, gets fouled, gets the roll! Basket good by J-Rich!
The dress code controversy. Before the first whistle blew, Commissioner David Stern implemented a mandatory business casual dress code, a move that sparked intense debate across the sports world. Players were now required to wear sport coats and dress shoes to games, a direct strike at the hip-hop influenced fashion popularized by stars like Allen Iverson. Many players, including Iverson and Steven Jackson, viewed the move as a targeted attack on their culture and personal expression. However, the league stood firm, hoping to professionalize the NBA's image for a global audience and corporate sponsors. This cultural friction set a tone that was pretty tense for the season, as the Iverson era of fashion began to give way to the GQ era of LeBron and Wade, the scoring explosion. The 2005-2006 season was arguably the greatest statistical year for individual scorers in the history of the sport. Rule changes implemented the previous year, specifically the strict enforcement of no hand checking, allowed perimeter players to navigate the floor with unprecedented freedom. This resulted in an era where three players, Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, and LeBron James, all averaged over 31 points per game. The league's average scoring climbed as the 7 seconds or less Phoenix Suns influenced everyone to pick up the pace. It was a golden age for the ISO scorer, where every night felt like a quest for someone to drop 50. Kobe Bryant's peak individualism. Following the departure of Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant found himself on a Lakers roster that lacked elite talent, forcing him into a me against the world mentality. He responded with a season for the ages, averaging 35.4 points per game, the highest mark since Michael Jordan in 1987. Kobe was a scoring machine who didn't just beat teams, he demoralized them with contested fadeaways and relentless drives. This season was the ultimate proof of Kobe's skill, but it also sparked endless debates about his willingness to pass to teammates like Smush Parker and Kwame Brown. Despite the roster limitations, Kobe dragged the Lakers to 45 wins and the playoffs through sheer force of will, the 81-point game. On January 22, 2006, the basketball world stood still as Kobe Bryant scored 81 points against the Toronto Raptors. Trailing by 18 points in the third quarter, Kobe went into a trance, scoring 55 points in the second half alone. He shot 28 of 46 from the field, including 7 three-pointers, in a performance that remains the second highest scoring total in NBA history. Fans in the Staples Center and millions watching at home realized they were seeing something that might never happen again in their lifetimes. It wasn't just a win, it was a cultural milestone that defined the Mamba mentality before the term even existed. The MVP race and the Suns' revolution. While Kobe was rewriting the record books, a floppy-haired Canadian point guard was busy rewriting how the game was actually played. 2006 was the peak of the 7 seconds or less revolution, Steve Nash's back-to-back MVP. Steve Nash won his second consecutive MVP award in 2006, a decision that remains one of the most debated in NBA history. Nash averaged 18.8 points and a league-leading 10.5 assists while joining the elusive 50-40-90 shooting club. His impact went far beyond the box score, as he acted as the engine for a Phoenix Suns team that lost Amari Stoudemire to injury, but still won 54 games. Critics argued that Kobe Bryant or LeBron James deserved the award based on raw stats, but the voters chose Nash's orchestrator style. His win validated a new era of basketball that prioritized spacing, pace, and playmaking over traditional post play. LeBron James, the king, arrives. At just 21 years old, LeBron James played his first truly legendary season, finishing second in MVP voting and leading the Cavaliers to 50 wins. He averaged 31.4 points, 7 rebounds, and 6.6 assists, becoming the youngest player to ever average over 30 per game. This was the year LeBron proved he could carry a franchise on his back, culminating in a dramatic first-round playoff series win against the Wizards. His Game 3 and Game 5 game winners in that series were the first real evidence that the chosen one was ready for the brightest lights. The NBA had found its next face, and he was even better than the hype suggested. The 7 seconds or less Phoenix Suns. Mike D'Antoni's Phoenix Suns were the most influential team of the decade, proving that a small ball lineup could dominate the regular season. With Sean Marion playing a hybrid forward center role and Boris Diaw winning Most Improved Player, the Suns were a nightmare to scout. They prioritized shooting and transition buckets, often taking a shot before the defense could even cross half court. While traditionalists claimed jump shooting teams don't win championships, the Suns were winning over fans worldwide with their aesthetic style. They changed the DNA of the league, paving the way for the future Golden State Warriors dynasty. The Pistons' final stand. In the East, the Detroit Pistons were the gold standard of consistency, starting the season 37-5 and finishing with a franchise record 64 wins. They sent 4 of their 5 starters, Billups, Hamilton, and both Wallaces, to the All-Star game, a rare feat that spoke to their collective chemistry. This was the peak of the going-to-work era, a team that played suffocating defense and shared the ball with selfless precision. However, internal rifts were starting to show, and the loss of coach Larry Brown for Flip Saunders changed the team's defensive identity slightly. They were the juggernaut that everyone in the East had to go through, but their window was beginning to crack. Playoff drama and the Western War. The 2006 playoffs weren't just a tournament, they were a war of attrition. From a Lakers-Suns classic to a Spurs-Mavs heavyweight bout, the West was a gauntlet. Lakers versus Suns. The 3-1 lead. The first round gave us a legendary 7-game series where Kobe's Lakers nearly pulled off a massive upset against the 2-seeded Suns. Kobe hit a miraculous buzzer beater in Game 4 to give the Lakers a 3-1 series lead, a moment that is immortalized in Lakers lore. However, the Suns' depth and Nash's poise eventually wore down Los Angeles, leading to a Game 7 blowout. This series is often remembered for Kobe's refusal to shoot in the second half of Game 7, a move many interpreted as a protest against his teammates. It was the ultimate what if for a Lakers fan base that was desperate for a post-Shaq championship. Spurs versus Mavs, the Texas tussle. The Western Conference semifinals featured arguably the greatest series of the decade between the San Antonio Spurs and the Dallas Mavericks. Both teams had won over 60 games, but because of the seeding rules at the time, they met in the second round instead of the conference finals. The series went 7 games, featuring a dramatic Game 7, where Manu Ginobili committed a fatal foul on Dirk Nowitzki during a layup that forced overtime. Dallas eventually triumphed in San Antonio, a win that felt like a passing of the torch in the state of Texas. It was the highest level of basketball played all year, featuring 2 Hall of Fame power forwards at their absolute peak. The Clippers' rare success. Long before Lob City, the 2006 Clippers had their most successful season in franchise history up to that point. Led by Elton Brand, who had an MVP caliber season, and veteran point guard Sam Cassell, the Clippers won their first playoff series since moving to California. They defeated the Denver Nuggets and pushed the Phoenix Suns to 7 games in the second round. For a franchise usually associated with losing, this season was a breath of fresh air and a brief moment of relevance. Elton Brand's 24.7 points and 10 rebounds per game made him one of the most feared interior players in the league. Dirk Nowitzki's redemption trail. Following years of being labeled soft by the media, Dirk Nowitzki used the 2006 playoffs to silence his doubters. He put up 50 points in a crucial Game 5 against the Suns in the Western Conference Finals, leading the Mavs to their first ever finals appearance. Dirk was shooting the ball with a level of precision that was unheard of for a 7-footer, utilizing his one-legged fadeaway to perfection. He was the undisputed leader of a Mavericks team that finally had the right mix of veterans like Jason Terry and Jerry Stackhouse. For Dirk, the 2006 Finals was supposed to be his coronation, flashpoint in the finals. The 2006 NBA Finals started as a Dallas Mavericks celebration and ended as the Dwayne Wade Show. It remains one of the most controversial and spectacular individual performances in history. The Heat's veteran gamble. Pat Riley had spent the previous offseason surrounding Dwayne Wade and Shaquille O'Neal with a cast of old-school veterans like Gary Payton, Antoine Walker, and Jason Williams. Critics called them the island of misfit toys, questioning if such a volatile group of personalities could coexist. Shaq was no longer the dominant MVP MVP Shaq, but he was still a massive presence that required a double team on every possession. This championship-robust roster construction was a massive gamble that looked like a failure when they trailed 2-0 in the finals. However, the veteran poise of Payton and Mourning would prove to be the difference maker. The 0-2 comeback. After the Mavericks dominated the first 2 games in Dallas, the series shifted to Miami, where the Heat faced a double-digit deficit in the fourth quarter of Game 3. It looked like the finals were over until Dwayne Wade took over, leading a furious comeback to save the Heat's season. Miami went on to win the next 4 games straight, becoming only the 3rd team in history to win the finals after trailing 0-2. The momentum shifted back to Miami in such a violent way that the Mavericks seemed to lose their identity entirely by Game 6. This turnaround cemented the 2006 finals as one of the great collapses and great triumphs in sports history. The rise of the Flash. Dwayne Wade's performance in the final 4 games of the series is statistically one of the greatest finals runs ever. He averaged 34.7 points, 7.8 rebounds, and 3.8 assists for the series, earning him the nickname Flash from Shaq. Wade was relentless, attacking the rim with a speed that the Mavericks simply couldn't contain. His ability to draw fouls and finish through contact made him look like a prime Michael Jordan. By the time he hoisted the Finals MVP trophy, Wade had ascended from a promising young star to a top 3 player in the world. The free throw controversy. To this day, Mavericks fans point to the officiating in the 2006 finals as a source of frustration. Dwayne Wade shot 97 free throws over the 6-game series, including 25 in Game 5 alone, as many as the entire Mavericks team combined. Critics argued that the league was protecting its new star, while Heat fans pointed out that Dallas simply had no one who could guard Wade without fouling. The phantom whistle on Dirk Nowitzki late in Game 5 remains a point of contention that fueled a rivalry between the 2 teams for years. Regardless of the controversy, Wade's aggression forced the referees to make a call nearly every time he touched the paint. Shaq's 4th ring. While Wade was the engine, this championship was a legacy-defining moment for Shaquille O'Neal, who won his 4th ring and his first without Kobe Bryant. Shaq averaged a modest 13.7 points in the finals, but his presence in the middle anchored the Heat's defense and opened up lanes for Wade. He had promised a championship to the city of Miami when he was traded in 2004, and he delivered on that promise within 2 years. This ring allowed Shaq to reclaim his status as the ultimate winner, proving he could lead a different franchise to the promised land. It was the final championship of his legendary career. Gary Payton's final shot. One of the most emotional storylines of the 2006 finals was Gary the Glove Payton finally winning his first championship. After falling short with the Sonics in 1996 and the Lakers in 2004, the aging veteran hit the biggest shot of the series, a clutch baseline jumper in Game 3 that sparked the Miami comeback. Payton's defensive toughness and veteran leadership in the locker room were invaluable for a young Dwayne Wade. Seeing one of the greatest point guards in history finally hoist the Larry O'Brien Trophy was a feel-good moment for a Hall of Fame career. The aftermath for Dallas. The loss in the 2006 finals left a deep scar on the Mavericks organization and Dirk Nowitzki personally. Owner Mark Cuban was fined repeatedly for his criticisms of the officiating, and the team was labeled chokers by the national media. This heartbreak, however, served as the primary motivation for their legendary revenge run 5 years later in 2011. The 2006 collapse forced Dirk to evolve his game even further, eventually leading to his MVP season in 2007. It was a painful lesson in finals pressure that Dallas would eventually use to fuel their own championship glory. The legacy of 2006. The 2005-2006 season was the official starting point of the modern era in the NBA, characterized by high-scoring guards and the decline of the traditional dominant center. It was the year Kobe Bryant scored 81, the year LeBron James became a superstar, and the year the Miami Heat became a championship franchise. The league's transition to a more polished image and a more wide-open style of play was complete. We look back at 2006 as the year the 90s era truly died, and the superstar-driven future we live in today was born. From 81 points to the Flash in Miami, 2006 was the year the NBA found its new rhythm. It was a season of suits, scoring, and a new king in the making.